The bats exploded in the desert. The Cubs got a much-needed win. It was worth the wait. Let's talk about all of it next.
You are Locked On Cubs, your daily Chicago Cubs podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
You are Locked On Cubs, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. I'm Sam Olbert. I'm a lifelong fan, taking my passion into a discussion with you on all things Cubs. Thank you for being part of the show and making Locked On Cubs your first listen today. And the best way you can help us grow the show is to listen every day, like the video, and give us a comment down below. Today's episode is brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off your first purchase. Well, it is 12:31 a.m. Central Time, meaning now 3 post-game live shows in have been either at 8 a.m. or 12:30 a.m. I am very much looking forward to normal recording times, but if this is what it takes to get W's, I am more than okay with it. Hope you guys enjoyed the first postcast from our guy, Joe George. It looked like we had like 400 plus people listening to him at once, so that was cool. This is exactly how it's going to kind of go. You know, we don't go live every night, Matt and myself, just obviously with opening day and such we are. So he goes on and then boom, we come on right after. So that's how it's going to be. Later on in the show, we're going to talk about Jed and some things like that. I have the wrong banner up here, but that's okay. We're going to talk about Jed and what he had to say, and we're going to talk a little bit about Nico Hoerner. But let's get started with a very important victory and how it happened. And I want to start with whenever the Cubs can score 10 runs and not get much out of Kyle Tucker and not get much out of Seiya Suzuki, it's going to be a pretty good day at the office. And that's what happened today. The Cubs got started really early in this one, scored 3 in the second, a huge 2-run double from Ian Happ. He later added a home run. But really what I want to talk about is the sequence in the 5th inning. And we're going to talk about Justin Steele as well. But in the 5th inning, we had a situation where there was a man on first, 2 outs. The Cubs led this game 4-3. Pete Crow Armstrong was at the plate, got a base hit, made it first and second and 2 outs. Okay. Then Matt Shaw came to the plate, hit a pretty routine ground ball to short that should have ended the inning. But Matt Shaw PCA hustled down the line, beat the play at second base, really was a routine play, and got Miguel Amaya an opportunity, who got a 3-run double. Probably should have been caught, but it was good contact by Amaya, which really broke the game open and I thought was the biggest sequence of the game. And that play doesn't happen without Pete Crow Armstrong's speed. It doesn't happen without his energy, his intensity. I mean, if you look at just his reaction to that, it just tells you it all. This kid wants to win, and I really love that play. I thought it really summarized the game. And when you look at the game as a whole, you know, Matt and I talked a lot about this offense improving. And the biggest reason why obviously was Kyle Tucker, but not far behind that was going to be the ceiling raisers at the bottom of the order. So I look at guys like Kyle Tucker and Seiya Suzuki as floor raisers, right? When everyone else is struggling, they're going to get you through the tough parts of the year. But when you look at that bottom of the order, we're going to talk about Nico at length. But Nico, PCA, Matt Shaw, Miguel Amaya, those 4 guys, but really the last 3, that's the big difference between this year's lineup and last, outside of Kyle Tucker. Because, you know, last year, for a lot of the year, PCA was an automatic out, especially the first half of the year. Miguel Amaya was an automatic out. Christopher Morel, Isaac Paredes, you didn't get a lot from that position, and you're replacing those 3 guys now with this new, you know, better year 2 Pete Crow Armstrong. I think a better player in Matt Shaw, and then of course Miguel Amaya after he made all his adjustments. And I thought that the depth, the length of the lineup really, really stood out. And I thought that was a huge key to the game today. You know, Matt Shaw didn't do a ton of things to jump out in the box score. He scored a bunch of runs, but there are 2 plays that he scored from first base that I just thought was really, really impressive. I don't think a lot of guys would have scored on both those balls. Miguel Amaya's double to center field. I mean, that didn't go to the wall or anything like that. It just got away from McCarthy in center. He scored easily. And then on Amaya's double in the corner, he scored easily from first base. So I thought those 2 guys, those 3 guys really, really just stood out. What they do to this lineup, they lengthen the lineup. It's not a group where you go, oh, great, so-and-so's up. This is an automatic out. And I think that's a really, really big difference from this year to last year. And, obviously I don't want to take anything away from Ian Happ. He was probably the star of the game with a home run and a big 2-run double. That 3rd inning, it felt a lot like game 2 of the Dodgers series against Sasaki, right? He's walking guys all over the place. What can you do? And you got to get the big hit. And Ian Happ, it was a really smart piece of hitting too, because Gallen was struggling mightily to get his fastball over the plate. He was leaning curveball, and Happ just sat on a curveball in the zone. Happ's really good with curveballs, changeups, things like that in the zone, and got a big hit into the right field corner. So those were really the offensive highlights we're going to talk about a little bit more. Want to get into Justin Steele for just a bit. Not a pretty outing in terms of the box score or the line, but I thought he did a pretty nice job tonight. This is a challenging lineup for him. They swing a lot. They're really good against left-handed pitching. They've bothered him in the past. And I thought he did what a really good starter does when he's just clearly not right and doesn't have his best stuff. And that's battle, that's grind, that's keep your team in the game. He pitched well enough to get himself a victory. And I was actually surprised that Counsell put Steele out for the 5th. I mean, his pitch count was in great shape, but he just battled. Every inning was such a grind. It was such a battle. I'm fascinated by, and I would love to know this, or maybe somebody will ask him this in post game. On MLB Game Day, they register the pitch, and there are 2 pitches that JD was really confused by. He didn't know what pitch it was. It was the Eugenio Suarez home run and Ketel Marte's double in the 1st. Those registered as changeups on MLB Game Day, and I'm really curious to see if Steele was throwing his changeup there, if it was a softer cutter or a harder slider, because that would be a pretty big story if he was really adding that 3rd pitch there. And when you add a 3rd pitch in the season, there's going to be some growing pains with it. So I'm very curious to see what that pitch selection was. But overall, I thought Steele battled. We're going to talk about the bullpen at length in the second segment, so I'll leave it there. The big highlight, though, like I said, the bottom of the order, and then the Cubs scored 10 runs today. 8 of them came with 2 outs. I mean, how many times have we come on the show? How many times have we come on the air and talked about lack of clutch hitting, lack of, of the big hit? And the Cubs got that today. They got it today. Miguel Amaya got it twice. Ian Happ got it. Kyle Tucker had a blue pit with 2 outs. So overall, just a really encouraging performance from the offense. And look, obviously, it's not going to go like this every game, but when you envision this offense and when you envision it clicking like it did, you think about, okay, obviously Tucker and Seiya, who didn't, have big nights, the bottom of the order. And then for me, man, it's just the speed. It's the speed. I think you look at the rest of the division, you look at Cincinnati, you look at Milwaukee, and the one thing that they just have so much, more of than you have in the past is speed. And today, PCA speed was on display. It literally got the Cubs 3 runs and broke the game open. I mean, credit to Amaya, but that doesn't happen without Pete. Matt Shaw's speed was on full display. There's really nobody on this team outside of the catching position where you go, man, that guy can't run. He's not fast. He's not athletic. It's a very fast, it's a very athletic team. And I think it was on display tonight. And I'm looking forward to the rest of the series, because now you win a game like this, you win game 1 of a 4-game series, you can get a little greedy now, because now all you got to do is win 2 of the next 3, and you're cooking with some fire. So it was really good. I want to talk about, coming up next, I want to talk about the bullpen. But before that, I really want to get in deep about Nico Hoerner. His game today, we haven't talked about him a whole lot because he wasn't in the Japan series. He was injured. And I really want to talk about what I want to see from him this year. And tonight was obviously such a phenomenal example of the type of player Nico Horner can be. And we're going to talk about that coming up next. This episode is brought to you by Game Time. There's nothing better than catching an MLB game live. The crack of the bat, the roar of the crowd, and the smell of ballpark food. And if you're looking to go last minute, Game Time makes getting tickets easier than ever. With last minute deals, all-in pricing, and a lowest price guarantee, Game Time takes the stress out of buying MLB tickets. Plus, ticket prices drop as game time gets closer, meaning you can score an incredible deal. Game Time is the official ticketing partner of Locked On. And as the Chicago Cubs get ready to host the San Diego Padres April 4th, 5th, and 6th, I can count on them to help grab tickets that meet my needs. I love that I can preview my exact seat before purchasing. No bad surprises when I get to the stadium. You guys know how Wrigley is, Section 200s. Make sure you preview your seat so you don't have one of those seats right behind a pillar. There's nothing worse. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off your first purchase. Terms do apply. Again, create an account and redeem code LOCKEDONMLB for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest price, guaranteed. We are back here on Locked On Cubs, and I want to talk about, and by the way, if you're still in this chat later on, when we finish this show, it is really, really late. And I want to change my background there. It is very, very late. And so if you guys have any questions or comments or shout outs or whatever, save them for the last segment. I will get to them, because if you're going to be up till 1+ in the morning with me, I will get to some chats and stuff. We don't typically do that as much anymore, but I will definitely do that if you guys are staying up late on this school night, weeknight, work night, whatever you want to say. So don't ask anything yet. Just wait. I'll get there. I'm not looking at the chat currently, but I'll get there in the third segment. I wanted to highlight, before I talk about the bullpen and that roller coaster, I want to talk about Nico Horner, because I had a tweet yesterday, I think it was, and I was just randomly thinking about Nico Horner. I was reading something about him, and I was so frustrated last year with Nico Horner's season, because I have high expectations for him as a hitter, and his profile is exactly what the Cubs need when he's going right. And what I mean by that is, I don't need Nico Horner to be a 20 home run guy. I don't even like when I see Nico Horner hit the ball in the air, like a launch angle of like 22 plus degrees. I always put my head down, because that's not his game. The Cubs need Nico Horner to get big hits for this team, to come up in big clutch spots and get hits. They need him to put the ball in play, have guys in motion when he's hitting, take advantage of his contact skill, and just think base hit, think right field, right field, right field, right field, right field. And he did that today. And obviously, it's not going to happen all the time. Jed Hoyer even said he's not 100% healthy yet. So we'll see how it goes. But today was just such a great example of the lift Nico Horner could bring you. Some guys aren't meant to be 890 OPS guys, but doesn't mean that they're not valuable to your team. If Nico Horner has a 740 OPS, but he bats 292, that is more than enough for what this team needs. He's a great base runner. He's fast. He's smart. Really good offenses they complement each other well, right? Say as the guy on this team that's going to have a lot of ups and downs, when he gets hot, he's supposed to carry the team for a while. Kyle Tucker is supposed to be the best player on this team. Ian Happ's supposed to be super steady. Dansby, we don't really know what we're going to get. The young guys are the young guys. They're going to be up and down. What they need from Nico is that steady, average presence. And I know, and when I say average, I'm not talking, average like between bad and good. I'm talking about batting average. They need his batting average. They need his hit tool, his ability to put the ball in play. I fell in love with Nico Horner, the baseball player, in 21 and 22, because, that's what he showed. And last year, it wasn't a lot of clutch hits, a lot of balls in the air. And I know he ended up hitting 273, but a lot of that damage was done at the end of the season when, us and a lot of people were checked out of the season. And I really, really just think that he be such a guy that puts this team over the edge. He's the type of guy when you watch the Brewers play, for example, and they get, another big hit for the Brewers, and this guy did this. Nico Horner's that type of player. Nico Horner's the type of guy where if you're playing him and he comes up and there's a couple guys on and 2 outs, you should go, I don't want to face Nico here. I'd probably rather face Suzuki in this spot. I know Nico's going to put the bat on the ball and give a good at bat. And today was just a really good example of what Nico Horner can do when he's right and he's locked in. It really elevates this lineup. A lot of positive things from today. A small negative would be the efforts of the Chicago Cubs bullpen. It went a little bit better than I thought it would, especially from Hodge and Presley. Really, I was pretty excited to see Nate Pearson throw, and that was an unmitigated disaster. Nate Pearson came in, he walked a guy, he hit a guy, and he walked a guy to load the bases with nobody out in a 5-run game. That's a very good way. That's a very good way to lose your manager's trust. It's a very good way to lose the fans' trust. Not that he cares. And it was he did a nice job to recover from it and limit the damage, but an inexcusable outing there. He got squeezed a little bit for sure. Got squeezed a little bit, but you still can't. The pitch selection, the 3-2 pitch to Moreno. Why are you throwing a breaking ball when you're up 5 and nobody's on base? Just challenge him with a 100-mile-an-hour fastball. So that wasn't a good performance. I will say this. Thielbar came in. He was fine. Gave up, just threw strikes, gave up some long fly balls. Fine. I thought Porter Hodge had a really nice outing. He had no command of his fastball, 0. He almost hit Eugenio Suarez in the head twice. And he mixed in a classic. Well, no, it wasn't a walk. He gave up a hit to Moreno, and then he almost walked a couple of guys, almost hit a couple of guys. But what I really liked from Hodge is, number one, he got whiffs on a slider, which is really encouraging because he wasn't getting a ton of those in the spring. He got whiffs on a slider, and he had the presence of mind to just go, hey, I got a 3-run lead here. I'm not getting my fastball over the plate. I'm just going to throw slider. And he was able to throw a scoreless inning, and it was good. That was a positive for him. He needed that, and if I'm being genuinely honest with you, I needed that. Ryan Presley came in the 9th to no surprise, got hit around a little bit. To be fair to Presley, his job there is to end the game with the Cubs winning, and his big job there is to not walk people. So he challenged really good hitters like Ketel Marte and Corbin Carroll, and they got hits off of him. So I'm not going to go crazy that he gave up a run there and 2 hits. But, if you've been watching the show leading up to the regular season, I have expressed great concerns with both of the guys that I just mentioned. So I'm obviously watching it a little bit closer than most. But, the job of a bullpen, and we talked about this. I've talked about this on numerous solo shows. The job of a bullpen is the number one job is to win and close out games that you're supposed to win. And it wasn't pretty tonight, but the Cubs did that. They had a 5-run lead, and they ended up, adding on, and they won the game by 4. That's a success. Okay. You want to win games that you should win. Win the games that you're supposed to win, especially against teams like this, because tomorrow, this is a dangerous lineup. This is a very impressive Arizona team. You have J-Mo going out there. You could lose a game 10-3, 10-4. So you got to bank in the wins that you've earned. They earned a win tonight. And I thought the bullpen, albeit some ups and downs and some roller coasters, definitely didn't pass the eye test. I'm still waiting for some really good stuff to come out of that pen, some strike threes, some but overall, they got the job done, and that's all that matters. I thought I can't believe. Just a quick side note, that at bat with Hodge to Eugenio Suarez. If you want to ask somebody, hey, why is it so hard to make the big leagues? Watch that at bat. Suarez has 2 96-mile-an-hour fastballs just whistle by his face, literally his face, not even his head, his face. And then he's expected to go hit 2 perfect strike-to-ball sliders on the lower third outside corner. I was just like, man, great work by Hodge to execute those pitches. But I was just like, I think that's I made a smart decision being done with baseball right around 12, maybe 13 years old, because goodness gracious. But the bullpen did a really nice job, a good enough job, I guess we could say. Steele fought, battled, but tonight was about the offense. I'm really interested to see tomorrow, just finishing the thought about the bullpen, if the Cubs do have a lead, with Japan and the longer, the spring training, the shorter spring training, I don't think you'll see a lot of guys work backs-to-backs early. So who comes out of the pen? You'll definitely see Merriweather tomorrow. No question about that. Is tomorrow Brad Keller day? I'm excited to see how Craig manages that. And then just one last quick note on the pen, and then we'll get to some news and notes from the day. And I want to talk about, I want to take some questions from you guys or comments. I watched the Dodgers today. I just want to defend the Cubs for 1 second. Tanner Scott's velocity was down. Blake Trinan's velocity was down. Didn't look that sharp. So maybe there's something to the Japan trip and working, super quickly and being out of your routine a little bit. So, those guys do deserve a little bit of a grace period, and they got the job done, regardless tonight. So, coming up next, we're going to talk about little Cody Poteet action. I promise that won't take long. Go around the NL Central, and then I will take some questions, comments from you guys. This episode is brought to you by Prize Picks. Baseball season is in full swing, and there's no better way to get in on the action than with Prize Picks, the best place for daily fantasy sports. With Prize Picks, you pick more or less on at least 2-player projections, and if you're right, you can win up to 1,000 times your cash. Whether it's strikeouts, RBIs, or first-inning runs, Prize Picks keeps every game exciting. This week, I'm picking Kyle Tucker for more than 1 home run and Pete Crow Armstrong for more than 1 stolen base. It's that easy. Setting up a lineup takes less than 60 seconds, and when you win, your payout is quick, safe, and secure. Download the app today and use the code LOCKEDONMLB to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code LOCKEDONMLB for $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks, run your game. We are back here on Locked On Cubs, and before I get to some questions, some comments from you guys, we have about 400 people with us at 12:52 in the morning. Appreciate it so much. Cubs made some news today. They DFA'd Cody Poteet. If you're wondering who that is the gentleman that they received in the Cody Bellinger trade. And so, of course, that sparked a lot of rhetoric and things like that. And I just want to say this about the Poteet thing. I did not care who the Cubs got in that trade. That trade was about moving salary. What frustrated me about that trade was that the Cubs didn't take advantage of the salary that they saved. I thought that they would 100% go out and get another pitcher, maybe go get a closer, whatever it was, but they didn't use that money. So when people go, man, that Cody Bellinger trade now it officially was a salary dump. No. It officially became a salary dump long earlier, when we realized that the only moves the Cubs were going to make the rest of the year were going to be Ray, Presley, and Turner. And I don't want to get into a long conversation about Tom and the payroll and whatnot, but I was pretty excited when the Cubs made that deal, because I was like, man, they just unloaded $25.5 million, whatever it was. I know they got Tucker at 17, but, they got some more money to play with now. And then we heard all offseason, we're going to be at the first luxury tax. We're going to be at the first luxury tax. And, that's $240 million. And they started the season at 215. So that was my frustration with that trade. And so basically what I'm trying to say, it had nothing to do with Cody Poteet. It was already frustrated. It was already, done with. Last thing before we get into, some questions, comments. I just want to say this. I watched a lot of baseball today, work from home perks. And, I had some takeaways, not from the games itself, because it's game 1 of the season, but I looked at these NL Central lineups, man. The Reds are going to have to get massive years from Ellie De La Cruz and Matt McClain to compete in this division. That lineup, I know they're missing some guys. It's not an overly deep lineup. They had Gavin Lux batting cleanup. Jamer Candelario in the middle of the order. The Brewers, they look like the Brewers to me. They lost today. They are so reliant on speed. It is a team that is just, I mean, Terang, Frelick, Ortiz, Churio. I'm blanking on the center fielder's name. Garrett something. They're so fast, and when they get on base, they just wreak havoc. And even Reese Hoskins today did that weird interview in the middle of the ESPN game and was just talking about, hey, we run the bases well, we bunt, we do those things, and that's what you're playing against. It's like the opposite. It's the small market team. It's they do the little things right. And I look at this Cubs team and I say, why can't the Cubs play a little bit like that? Why can't, with PCA, with Shaw, with Nico, Kyle Tucker runs well, Ian runs well. Why can't we play a little bit of speed? Why can't we, add that to our game this year? And I'm really looking forward to that. And then, the Cardinals don't have much to take away from their lineup, and the Pirates' offensive lineup is that's going to be really tough. I mean, as great as Skeens is, as great as maybe Jared Jones will be when he comes back. That lineup, it's going to be tough for them. Anyways, it is now time to turn the floor over. I got about 5-6 minutes for you guys. Tell me what you want to talk about. Let me know. Questions, comments. Don't typically do this, but my goodness gracious, it's 1 a.m. Some of you are watching East Coast. It's 2 a.m. So let me know what you have here. So let me read these first, because I don't want anyone to. What was Hodge doing today? Here we go. Golden. What was Hodge doing today? Bro could not control the fastball. Almost dome piece Suarez twice. Wow. Porter has some control problems. That's not news. He didn't have his fastball today. He's going to have outings like that, but if he's able to escape when he doesn't have control of one pitch against a really good lineup, I still consider that a positive. So we'll see. Ricky said, "Hey, Sam." Hey, Ricky. Do you feel Amaya's bat makes up for a slow defense now? Well, I think it's a bit early, for a game to feel that way. I think, Amaya, game 1 so far, it's been awesome for Miguel Amaya, and let's keep it going. I can't make any conclusions, after 3 games, but I thought, I think his bat looks really good, and I'm really excited about that catching tandem. I think it's going to be much improved from last year. Bob D. Do you think Seiya's taking too many pitches early in the count? He doesn't seem good with 2 strikes. Yeah, I mean, Seiya's such a difficult guy to evaluate. He's in one of his funks right now. It's a balance, Bob, between, you're right. Seiya's at his best when he's 2-0-3-1 and he knows a fastball's coming and he could zero in. He's really good in that spot. So is a lot of guys, but he's really, really good at it. But he also will get into these funks where he feels how you feel, and he predetermines a swing, and like on a 2-1 pitch or a 1-0 pitch, he'll swing it like a pitch 6 inches off the plate and ground out to short. So he's got to find that balance. But yeah, I mean, Seiya's at his best when he's aggressive, for sure. I agree with that. Sam, how do you feel about Tyone tomorrow? It's gonna be tough. All these outings are gonna be tough. This is a really good offense, a really good team. You had to score 10 today. You had to score 7 to beat them. Cubs are gonna have to hit, a lot to win 2 more games this weekend, or even 1 more. All right, we got a lot of these here. Oh, I just missed one. I'm sorry. Hold on. Something about Merriweather. It's been a second for these. Man, maybe I lost that, or did I? Or a lot of questions coming in right now. Okay, that's what it is. Something about Merriweather closing. Not yet. Oh, there it is. Would you put Merriweather as your closer? Was your best pitcher in the spring, Frank? Not yet. Can't do that yet. You can't just flip things because it went well in the spring. It's a mindset, right? First of all, I think the pecking order is hot. It's Presley and Hodge. So if Presley struggles first, it would go to Hodge unless Hodge is struggling. You can't make any drastic changes yet. You got to let these guys, especially a veteran, a proven guy like Presley, pitch first. But you give it, like Matt said, probably like 3-4 outings. And this one is not going to count as a bad outing for Presley. He did his job. He came in a 5-run game. The Cubs won by 4. It didn't look great, but not yet. You can't do that yet. Got a lot of these here. I won't be able to get to all of them. Eric says, do you think the Cubs could still win 92 games like I predicted? I don't want to get into too many big picture stuff. 92 is a lot. 92 would be a lot, but we'll see. Rio said JD did a great job. Ignore the haters. I wasn't there. I didn't see any haters, but Joe George, I'm sure, did an awesome job. Seems like an awesome guy. Really excited that he's going to be an addition to our channel. I'm looking. Here's a good question from Benny Bull. Hey, congrats on the Crazy Bulls victory today, Benny. Do you think the new base coaches made any difference in our offensive performance? Again, you can't say anything one game. I think the better phrase would be, do you think that they will? And I think the answer is yes, a little bit. I do. I think you get a new voice in there. You get a guy like Quentin Berry that knows how to steal bases. I mean, everything that the Cubs did around the margins this year. So I'm talking about base coaches. I'm talking about John Birdie. I'm talking about Gage Workman, Justin Turner. Everything around the margins I thought was pretty successful for the most part this offseason. And that's where they trail the Brewers so much. So, running the base is better. I mean, I can't wait to go on StatCast. I don't know if it'll come out today or later. I want to see how fast Matt Shaw was running on those two doubles where he scored from first. I'll ask my friend Nick, who was at the game, just like if he was watching live, if he looked like he was like flying. Cause like that ball in center field, I mean, it got like 6 inches away from McCarthy and all of a sudden Shaw was at home. I mean, I know he's fast, but he looked like one of the faster guys in the league in that spot. So we got 440 people now. I'm going to do a few more because it's really late and I appreciate you guys so much. A lot of closer things. Oh, here's a good one. Paul, did you see anything positive from Tucker? Yeah, I think so. His first at bat, flew out to the track. Second at bat, bloop single. Third at bat, walk. Fourth at bat, worked a really deep count that turned into a strikeout, missed a couple pitches, and then his last two at bats, weren't great. But I think he was fine today. I'm not going to overanalyze every game. When the Cubs scored 10 runs, I'm not going to start picking on Kyle Tucker. Or Seiya. I mean, Seiya obviously had the worst game outside of Dansby, but I think, like I said, anytime you can win a baseball game when your two best hitters, not only win a baseball game, put up 10 runs when your two best hitters don't do much, it's a good day. I'm going to do two more. And then we will move on. Some of these questions are so like, I'm not being disrespectful, but they're so like long-term. I can't get into them because I'll be here all night and I'd like to get to sleep at some point here. A lot of batting stance questions about Matt Shaw. Yeah, I mean, this isn't a surprise to me. I watch Matt Shaw hit a lot in the minor leagues. So like, I know how he stands, but I guess this really has taken a lot of people by surprise. This is a guy that's hit at every level he's ever hit in. So if that's what works for him, I don't know if you guys have ever seen me bowl, which you haven't. I bowl really weirdly. I have a really weird bowling form, but I'm pretty steady, 160 to 180. You know what I mean? Like everybody has what works for them. I think the leg kick is probably the bigger question. Will the leg kick be able to sustain in the major leagues when guys are throwing 100 plus with nasty sliders and things like that? But overall, like where he stands from the plate and whatever, I'm not overly concerned about that. He's had success. One of the best hitters in college, was one of the best hitters in the minors, minor league player of the year last year. Like it works for him. So, all right. Let's see. Let's pick a good one for our last one. Someone said about the new uniforms. I don't know what's going on. I thought the Cubs uniforms looked normal to me. All right. Let's see. Let's do a good one. Almost there. All right. Let's end with this. Who do you trust in the Cubs bullpen? And this is from Gus Bus Gaming. Who do I trust in the Cubs bullpen? Not a whole lot of gentlemen, not a whole lot of people right now. I think the way it works in a season, especially when you don't have like a proven guy, and I know Ryan Presley's proven in the past, but you earn that trust. You earn that trust. So ask me that question in like a month, and we'll see. There's a lot of guys early in the year that don't look great. I think it might have been 2 years ago. It was either last year or 2 years ago. Felix Bautista, one of the great closers in the game. Oh, it had to have been 2 years ago because he got hurt last year. I think he blew a save like the first game of the season and then ended up having like one of the best seasons, ever. Point is, like early in the year, it's a little bit wonky. You just don't want to cost yourself too many games early. Cubs didn't do that today. I ultimately think you'd like to have at least one of Presley and Hodge be really, really good. I think Brad Keller is a sneaky pick. I think Merriweather's a sneaky pick. Pearson was really bad today. He's a sneaky pick. Of course, they can go at the trade deadline. I think there's some guys in the minor leagues like Luke Little that are sneaky picks, but it's not going to form for a while. You just have to make sure it's not a total disaster, for the first month, 2 months of the season, like it's been the last 2 years. And then, you figure it out, who's rolling, who's in form, who's not, and go from there. By the way, former Cub, speaking of bullpen, Hector Neris did not record an out today for the Braves and gave up 3 earned runs. So not one of those situations where he was just bad for us. I don't know if that makes you feel any better or not, but just wanted to note that, talking about all the bullpen. Awesome show today, guys. You guys, I never cease to amaze me. 430, 440 people here. If you're still here, remember tomorrow, watch party with me, 8:40 Central Time. I will be watching. I might watch the whole game. I might watch the entire game. So watch the entire game with me. I'll take a bunch of chats like this. It'll be a really good time. So we'll watch the game, see if we can take the first 2 from the Arizona Diamondbacks. Thank you guys so much. I really appreciate it. Thanks for checking out this edition of Locked On Cubs. You give us 30 minutes, we'll give you all things Cubs with a laugh or two along the way. Be sure to hit subscribe on YouTube, smash the like button for the algorithm, and leave a 5-star review on Apple, Spotify, and everywhere you get your podcasts. I'm Sam Olber, and this is Locked On Cubs.